Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a bit of a book haul. This is completely unrelated, but when I'm filming this, it's the day after Baby It's Kiki Palmer's podcast posted that episode with Kiki Palmer and Sean Evans, who is the host of Hot Ones. This is not book related at all, so if nobody watches Hot Ones or nobody cares, I completely understand, but I am so obsessed with them, it's kind of ridiculous. I watched the entire podcast episode. I also love Kiki Palmer as just a public figure in general, but I was so fascinated watching them literally be in love. Why are they not together? Because my thing is, I don't think they're acting, but I guess you could let me know if you think they're acting, if you have any interest in the topic. I don't think they're acting. I think that, I don't know if it's necessarily romantic, but they definitely have like a chemistry. And it's just so fun to watch. I would literally watch anything that both of them are involved in. So anyway, that's why I'm saying that, because while I was getting ready, I was watching the older Hot Ones episodes with them, because I just love them. So anyway, I will start with the books that I've already read from this docket. I've read 2 and I have started, I'm like in the middle of another one. So the first one is Life of Pi. This is the one that I'm in the middle of. It's by Yann Martel. I actually started this one, I want to say 3 weeks ago now, which is kind of ridiculous that I haven't finished it, but I was obsessed with the beginning. I loved the conversation about religion and zoo animals and zoology. I found myself very fascinated, and I also really liked the almost anecdotal and reflective style of writing in the beginning. It made me feel like I was reading a memoir, but a really well written one, and I really liked it. And then, if you don't know, the story is about a young boy who gets stranded in the middle of the ocean with wild animals, or zoo animals if you will. And when we got to that point, I kind of started getting bored. I felt like the pace was really slow, and aside from that, it just didn't have any intensity or tension, because I felt like we already kind of know he's going to survive, and how he's going to survive wasn't really that fascinating of a plot to me. So that's kind of where I'm at. I do still intend to finish it. I'm just reading it very slowly. So that's the first book. Then I got these 2 books. I got These Infinite Threads and All This Twisted Glory by Tahira Mafi. These are the second and third books in the This Woven Kingdom series by her, and I've been liking it. I've been reading it slowly throughout the beginning of this year, and I've enjoyed it. I really loved this one. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This one I didn't like as much. I gave it 3.75 stars because nothing is happening in terms of the plot. I guess this one is super strong romantasy, where there is a very strong romance situation going on here, but the fantasy isn't really being explored a lot. There's not really a lot of action, and I think by this point, third book in the series, I was really hoping that some things would be explained and explored in terms of the fantasy plot, and we didn't really get that. So I liked it because I love the characters, but I feel like we're losing the plot here a little bit. But I really love this one. The romance in this, chef's kiss. Unexpected and perfect. It was really good. This one is A View of the Empire at Sunset by Carol Phillips. This is shortlisted for the Booker Prize, which was part of the reason that I picked it up, but it also felt very close to home. This one follows a woman who lives in the United Kingdom with her husband, but she has roots in Dominica, and Dominica is actually where my husband's family is from, well, his dad at least, and that's actually where we got engaged on our trip to Dominica. So it was really, Dominica is just a really special place for me. I love it kind of with my whole heart, and it was just those 2 things, because my husband and I also plan on moving to the UK sometime in our maybe distant, maybe near future. And so just those two kind of geographical elements were kind of interesting to me. And I also feel like I haven't read a lot of Caribbean literature, and this one sounded like a really interesting story of her, or our protagonist, finding herself back at home and really feeling like this is home in comparison to where she is in the UK. So I thought that some of it may kind of resonate and be really interesting to me. So this is the first book that I picked up. Actually, it's not. I have no idea what order I picked these up in, but it's the first one that we're talking about. Okay, the next one is The 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna by Juliet Grams, not sure. One of the reasons that I picked this up was because it was in the bargain section, and I was interested by the plot. I saw that Oprah magazine gave a little bit of a comment in the front here. This one follows Stella Fortuna, and oh right, I do remember this. Death has always been a part of her life. Stella's childhood is full of strange, life-threatening incidents. Moments when ordinary situations like cooking eggplants or feeding the pigs inexplicably take lethal turns. Even Stella's own mother is convinced that her daughter is cursed or haunted. In her rugged Italian village, Stella is considered an oddity. She uses her peculiar toughness to protect her baby sister Tina from life's harshest realities. When the Fortunas emigrate to America on the cusp of World War II, Stella and Tina must come of age side by side in a hostile new world with strict expectations for each of them. I just thought that it sounded interesting. I also read Rugged Italian Village, and that caught me. I love an Italian setting in a book, I've realized. So I picked this one up. We're going to see how it goes. I also haven't read many historical family sagas recently. I just actually finished The Frozen River, and I really, really liked it, and that had a huge family element. So I feel like this one could be good. Next one was Super Rogue one. I'm not really sure what inspired me to pick this one up, to be honest, but the cover really caught my attention, and I've also been trying to expand my horizons a bit. So this one is Moonbound by Robin Sloan. Usually I stay clear from covers that look like this in a bookstore that I don't know about, because I have oftentimes picked up a second or 10th book in a series and not knowing anything about it. But I was challenging myself to pick some books up that I haven't heard about, so I picked this one up because the premise sounded interesting, and I was obsessed with the cover. Can you imagine me sitting reading this book? Like, it's literally so cool. But this one is a sci-fi futuristic kind of situation. It's 11,000 years from now. A lot has happened, and yet a lot is still very familiar. Ariel is a boy in a remote village under a wizard's rule. Like many adventurers before him, Ariel is called to explore a world full of eye-popping discoveries and challenges. Unknown enemies, a mission to rescue the world, a girl. Here, as they say, be dragons. But none of this happens before Ariel encounters an entity from an earlier civilization, a sentient, sensitive artificial intelligence with a special perspective on all of human history, who becomes both Ariel's greatest ally and our narrator. I love an interesting narrator. That is one of my favorite things in a story. I love when we can get such an interesting and fresh perspective on the story. And so when I heard that this AI entity, sentient entity, is the narrator of the story, I was like, yeah, you're coming home with me. I don't know if this is the millionth book in the series or this will, but I don't care. That one just kind of bumped up my radar. I'm feeling drawn to it. Sentient AI narrator sounds really fun. Okay, the next one I've seen this many times. I am a BookTube veteran. I have been watching BookTube pretty much all my life, since I was literally as young as I could possibly remember. And I'm thinking maybe like 10 years old. I'm 27 now. So I just feel like YouTube has been such a big part of my life for such a long time, and I've seen it kind of all. So BookTube specifically, I feel like even in years where I wasn't really reading that much or that actively, I was still consuming book content because it's the thing that I just love the most. So I've been around the block on BookTube, so I can't have not heard of this book, The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. And the thing with this one is it sounded interesting with the first few times that I heard about it, but then I saw recently a few people actually comparing it to About Time, which is a movie with Rachel McAdams, which is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time, definitely top 3. And so when I heard about this, I was like, you know what? I have a video from maybe like a month or 2 ago on my channel of me reading comp titles for some of my favorite movies, and I was like, this sounds perfect, because as I said, About Time is one of my favorite movies, and it has been comp titled to About Time many times on my feed. So I picked this one up, and this one follows a recently deceased woman meets the one in the afterlife waiting room, scoring a second chance at life and love if she can find him on Earth before 10 days are up. The premise actually does not sound at all like About Time, but I think that a time travel, contemplative, reflective tone is maybe what people are referring to in terms of the comparison. And this one also reminds me a lot of Eternity, which is also one of my newest favorite movies, with Miles Teller and Elizabeth Olsen, and is it Callum Turner? Yeah, I really love that. That one came out last year, so I'm definitely going to be reading this in our second episode of that vlog. But yeah, I'm excited about this. This one is kind of random. I've never heard anything about this one either. I guess we're kind of going back and forth with some of the ones that I've heard of and ones that I haven't heard of. But this one is The Complicities by Stacey DeRasmo. I found this premise to be really interesting because I love a moral dilemma, reflective kind of story. This one follows Suzanne. She has this husband who is a massive white collar criminal. So he goes to prison and she files for divorce, and then she kind of makes a whole new life for herself while he's in prison, but then he's released early, and the many people whose lives he has ruined demand restitution. At the same time, awestruck and obsessed by the spectacle of a major whale stranded on a beach near her home, Suzanne makes an apparently high-minded decision that in turn reverberates not only through Alan's life as he tries to rebuild, but also through the lives of their son, Alan's new wife, his estranged mother, and ultimately Suzanne herself. A resonant and bitingly perceptive story about the people next to the bad guys. I loved that line. That line actually made me pick up the book. It says, a resonant and bitingly perceptive story about the people next to the bad guys. The queasy and ambiguous territory people like Susanna inhabit as they stand by, and the ways in which they try to thread the needle of their own culpability. I loved that. That last little bite at the end, I thought it was so good, it hooked me. So I'm really interested in this one. Then we have one that I have heard of. I've heard many things about it actually. This is The Book Club for Troublesome Women by Marie Bostwick. I haven't read enough stories about troublesome women, but I love it. I love disruptive women, especially set in a very historical setting. I feel like that is something that really interests me, those themes, but I haven't really read it with an ensemble cast of troublesome women. So this one sounds really good. Margaret Ryan never really meant to start a book club or a feminist revolution in her buttoned up suburb. That just sounds so interesting to me. I love reading about suburban wives as well, and so a book club, feminist themes / feminist revolution, troublesome women. I feel like I'm going to really like this. And one of my favorite booktubers at the moment, Maddie Faber, she read this recently and she really liked it. So I feel like in terms of lit fic, some of our tastes really align. So I'm excited about this one. Oh my gosh, I just looked down, my phone is literally still on Hot Ones. Anyway, the next one is a classic. I've read this one before, as maybe every single person who's ever been through the public school system has. This is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I really, really want to reread this one. I feel like when I read this, when was that? I think I may have been 14 or 15 maybe. I feel like I appreciated it, and literature has always been my favorite subject. It's always been the thing that I've connected to the most. So it's not to say that I feel like I didn't get everything out of it. No, it is to say that I feel like I got some things out of it. I understood it in principle, but I do feel like coming into it with a different perspective, and also now being a qualified lawyer, because I mean at 15 I was just in school and I was enjoying the story for what it is, but I feel like I have such a different perspective and understanding of life now and the legal and justice system. So I feel like I could really appreciate the story in a different way than I did when I was 15. So I saw this one and I was like, you know what, I have been itching to reread this one recently, so I should just do it. So I picked it up and I'm really excited. I am going to annotate the hell out of this. I remember loving it so much, but I do feel like a lot of it is foggy in my brain. I remember the themes and I remember the message, but I don't remember a lot of the actual story. So I'm excited to get my teeth back into this one. This one is one that I've had my eye on for a while. I remember sometime last year, it may have been late or maybe like mid last year, a lot of people were talking about this one, and it has piqued my interest since then. I just haven't seen it anywhere, and I don't know, it kind of fell to the wayside. There are always so many books that I could be buying or thinking about, so it kind of it just fell by the wayside. But this one is Spectacular Things by Beck Dory Stein. It's about Mia and Cricket this one is about sisters, and I don't have a sister. I have two brothers, an older brother and a younger brother, but now I have a sister-in-law. And all my life I've had sisters. I've had really, really, really close cousins who we all grew up together, and I also have my best friend who we also grew up together. So it's not to say that I don't have sister-like relationships in my life. So I've always been really fascinated by relationships between sisters, because I don't have it, but I kind of feel like I do. So it will always be different though, because I mean, we don't live together. It's not the same dynamic. So yeah, this one is about two sisters, Mia and Cricket, who've always been really close. The gifted daughters of a young single mother, the Low Girls, are well known in the small Maine town they call home. Each sister has a role to fill. The responsible and academically minded Mia assumes the position of caregiver, far too young, while Cricket, a bouncing ball of energy and talent, seems born for soccer stardom. But the cost of achieving athletic greatness comes at a steep price. As Mia and Cricket grow up, they must grapple with the legacy of their mother's secret past while navigating their own precarious future. Can Mia allow herself to fall in love at the risk of repeating a terrible history? Will Cricket's relentless chase of a lifelong goal drive her sister away? When does loyalty become self-sabotage? Interesting. I thought it was interesting, and it's a book that I've been kind of on the hunt for a really long time. So when I saw it, I had to pick it up. And the last book in this haul is Homebound by Portia Ellen. This one is a title to a book that I really love, and I've been searching for a book similar to it for literally, it feels like so long now. Yeah, like a year. I think I read that early last year. And that is, what is the name of that book? That has literally never happened. I've talked about that book so many times. It's not Station 11, it's by Emily St. John Mandel. One thing about me is I'm not going to look it up. My brain needs to work. Okay, that's crazy. There's nothing there. Nothing. I can't even see the cover in my head, so that's a little bit concerning because I have spoken about that book so many times. I'm going to keep talking and it's going to come to me before the end of this video, or I'm going to have myself committed. But this one I heard is very similar to it. And no, actually the comp title was Station 11, but I didn't like Station 11, but I really liked the other one. And oh my god, that's going to really frustrate me. Anyway, yeah, this one is, it just kind of plays with time and the reality of our existence. Sounded really interesting. And yeah, like even this play by Madeline Miller feels like how I felt about, oh my god, guys, that is going to kill me. This is not good. Okay, yeah. Madeline Miller says it confidently spans centuries, a hauntingly beautiful exploration of what makes us human. I love that. I actually don't know what this one is about, and I don't want to know. I feel like I've given a little bit of a description of every other book, and I can have an exception with this one. This is a 5-star prediction for me, and I just think that the best thing to do might be just to go into it kind of blindly. What is the name of that book? Why? Oh my god, I can't remember. I can't remember. It's Sea of Tranquility. That just ruined my day. And I can't explain it to you why that ruined my day. I just have this very, like, crazy maybe trait. Like if I see an actor on a new show that I'm watching or new movie and I recognize their face and I can't place where I know them from, that will like ruin my viewing experience because I need to figure it out, or I need to Google it and find out, because my brain, I guess it's like a hyperfixation thing. But we don't need to get into it. The name of the book is Sea of Tranquility, which I love. One of my favorite books ever. But I really hope I have a similar kind of experience with this in terms of playing with time and existence and the human condition and the human experience. I feel like I don't get enough of that. I don't think I read enough books similar to it to get it, and I've been trying, but none of them have been hitting the way that I want them to. So I have really high hopes for this one, but I don't want to put too much expectation on it, because then inevitably it will not meet it. But yeah, this is the last book in our haul. I'm actually really excited about these books that I've gotten. Have I gotten too many books on top of the many books that I have unread on my shelf? Yes. I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Not with a book haul. We will be reading some books and getting some books off of this TBR the next time you see me. Bye.